Hey folks, welcome to Discerning Spirits, the show where we talk about Enneagram types over cocktails. I'm your bartender, Dan Prevet.
And I'm your bar patron, Colton Simmons. And today we're talking about Type 2, the helper. Dan, what are we drinking today?
Today I thought we would have a Penicillin. What I love about a Penicillin is that it's a great introductory gateway cocktail to the world of craft cocktails. It's got enough ingredients to make it interesting and a little bit intriguing, but it's straightforward and delicious enough that it's super approachable and pretty much everybody loves it, kind of like Enneagram Type 2s. We're gonna do a little bit of whiskey, some house-made ginger syrup by the good people at Fancy Free, some fresh squeezed lemon juice, honey syrup, and just a spritz of Laphroaig to give it a little extra zing and complexity on top. All right, Colton, we've got the Type 2, the helper, and this is a Penicillin.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Smoky on the top.
Ooh. All right.
That's all sorts of stuff.
This is a really fun cocktail. This is a fun cocktail to make and to give to guests at the bar. The reason I picked this for the 2, I was talking to a 2 friend of mine who happens to be a bartender as well, and I was asking her about craft cocktails, and she was like, well, what about something with honey? Because bees are really communal creatures. And I was like, that's really fun. I like that idea. And then I thought of the Penicillin. So what you've got going on in here is whiskey, ginger, honey, lemon, and then just a hit of Laphroaig scotch on top. You just spritz a little over the top. And that Laphroaig has a really unique, smoky, almost briny flavor. Some people say it tastes like Band-Aids. It's got kind of a medicinal flavor to it. I love it. I will drink Laphroaig straight. But as a top to all these other nice, refreshing juices and the sweet elements, the spicy elements, there's a ton going on in this cocktail.
Yeah.
But it happens to be really refreshing and easy drinking. So when you hand this to somebody who's in a craft bar for their first time, you've got some like a young person, 21, 22, and they've never had a craft cocktail in their life, and this is the first one they have. It's like, I've never drunk anything like this in my life.
Yeah.
And it's approachable and delicious and really dangerous because you can have too many of these before you know what happened. So how do you think I did with this one?
I am honestly surprised that you chose this for the helper. After hearing that explanation, it feels right. But that Laphroaig smoke, like on the front end, and then the sweetness on the finish, I'm like, I guess that is, it's not what I would have thought with the helper, because I think I still think in cliches, even though I know the Enneagram more than that. I still think in stereotypes and cliches about, oh, just sweet and sweet and nice and kind. But there's so much more complex than that. And I think you did it justice by doing the Penicillin.
I think what I like about that spritz of scotch over the top, in my experience with 2s, a 2 really comes into themselves as a human being when they've got a little bit of salt.
Yeah.
When they've got like a little bit of kind of that hard edge, when life has been a little real.
Yeah.
They really sort of like come into themselves in a way. They become more grounded, more real, and more connected. So they kind of need the bite to not just be sugary sweet.
Yeah. And I think it kind of captures that eightness that they can go to, that Challenger-esque flavor where you're like, just because I'm sweet and nice and kind and I know all your needs and I'm running around like crazy to help you, don't think that you can walk all over me. I still have that strong essence in there.
What are some of the signs you're looking for in terms of like, I think I'm a 2, or I think this person I love is a 2?
It is. I feel like it's hard to mistake a 2. 2s are defined by the need to be needed. So they are constantly providing something. Mm-hmm. I think 2s come off very differently based on which wing they are. So I know it's kind of starting off into some specifics right from the top, but a 2 with a 1 wing is, to me, way different than a 2 with a 3 wing. Mm-hmm. So with a 1 wing, they're called the servant. And that's the classic volunteer behind the scenes, the Mother Teresa, working, serving, giving, the cliche is the Italian mom who's like, what do you need? Just babying you, like always giving you what you need, always running themselves into the ground to provide a service. And the 2 with the 3 wing is called the host, which to me looks so different because they're up in front. They're more likely to be on stage than to be behind the scenes. So at first glance, people can confuse them because like that guy's always, performing and then hosting shows and then hosting dinners and doing all this stuff, and he's up in the spotlight, could be an entertainer. And that's because they feel like their way of serving is by providing their gifts and their talent as a service. But you cannot mistake how ever present a 2 is. They cannot be in your space and not interact with you on some level around what you need. So that is like the telltale sign of a 2 to me, is they are meeting some need for me, be it entertainment or bringing me food constantly. They can't not do it.
Yeah.
So that to me is kind of how you know you're around a 2.
So in my experience with 2s, because they are so other-centric, they can be so all about like, what do you need? How can I help? What can I do for you? Which are really attractive, likable traits in a person. The dark side can kind of sneak up on you a little bit.
Yeah.
It comes as a bit of a surprise, and you sort of, you kind of, it feels a little bit like a trap when you walk into it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, you've experienced it, so my mentor is a 2, and I love 2s. He's had the most positive impact on my life than any other person, and he's a 2. So I say that as a preface. But 2s can kind of be a little like human sandpaper sometimes because of that need to be needed. If you don't reciprocate, which is their big desire in life, it's to be loved as much as they are loving you. And if you don't return that love, boy, do they have a list of things they've done for you lately that you should be grateful for. And in the less healthy 2s, you get smacked with that list and you just feel like, I thought you were serving me because you loved me, not because you had a list of like debts and things I had to repay. So that can be the tough side. That's the prickly side. That's not all 2s. That's not a healthy 2. But that does exist because it's hard not to have some level of pride after you've run yourself into the ground to help somebody.
Yeah.
And if they don't respond with something, I mean, I get it. I would feel pissed off too.
So if somebody has identified themselves as a 2, what are some of those warning signs they can be on the lookout for in themselves to not be like moving into that need to be needed kind of unhealthy space?
I mean, 2s can set people up to need them in a very unhealthy way, kind of like enabling somebody, whether that be an addict, which is the really extreme case, or it could be someone who is a mess of animals. It's good to love animals, but a lot of 2s will keep a pet around because pets are helpless and pets need to be fed. Pets need to be walked. They need a lot of things. So I've known 2s that have 7 or 8 cats and dogs in their house. Their little apartment is filled with animals, and it's just so that they always feel needed. Or people who are broke that go out and get an animal and now they have to feed them and take care of them. That's a small warning sign where you're like, it's not bad to want those things or to love a pet, but do you feel empty? And is that why you're doing that? Is it because you've had a breakup and I don't know, someone around you is taking advantage of you, so you take some innocent animal and set it up to need you? That's probably the biggest warning sign. Plus 2s have a lot of dormant anxiety and shame. So if 2s feel like they have to do something good because they're ashamed of who they are, that's a huge warning sign. It's always good to do a nice thing and to serve and to give of yourself. But if you're doing it from the place of, I'm a piece of shit, and so I just need to go out there and do this, serve the homeless, it's like doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. So only they can tell, like, am I doing this just so that someone needs me and calls me because I'm a volunteer and they know I'll show up and it makes me feel like I have purpose. So it's great if 2s can have people in their life who just need nothing from them. Just want to hang out and watch TV and then go home.
And a really humbling feeling to not be needed.
Yeah.
How about on the flip side? What are some proactive steps that self-identified 2s can take in their lives to move into a healthier direction?
That's a really good question. And I think 2s need to focus on anything that can make them feel truly humble. Because if 2s can serve out of a place of humility, they've conquered the game. I mean, they're some of the most amazing, generous people in the world, but it has to come from a place of humility. So, I'm no therapist, but any practice or therapist or, elder in their life that can help them shave off that layer of pride and get to a deeper layer of humility, if they can tap into that, I mean, everything's golden from there.
So this goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning with the spritz of scotch on top of this drink. Because basically everything in this drink, I think what I like about it is it's a souped up whiskey ginger.
Yeah.
It's got sugar, ginger, which offers a nice little spice, but just barely. Honey, lemon. I mean, it's so refreshing.
That it is.
And then over the top, you've got this weird, salty, briny, smoky scotch.
Yeah.
And I think that resonated with me because as a 4,
yeah,
I have an interesting relationship with 2s in that I moved to 2 and then the needy sort of...
In unhealth.
But I've noticed 2s become more healthy and more grounded when they allow themselves to experience the bitterness of life.
Yeah.
I've seen them kind of like dig into this like richer sense of who they are.
Yeah.
And they seem to need a lot less when they sort of let themselves realize like sometimes life is just kind of hard.
Yeah. I mean, experiencing a deep level of suffering is good for everybody. It's very humbling. Like we talked about, practices that humble you. Sometimes life just humbles you, just kicks the shit out of you. And 2s who experience suffering where they realize, I guess I can't fix this. I guess I'm the one that needs help. And I'm in such a deep level of need that I can't mask it for once as the person who's got all of the resources. I can't hide behind the person who knows how to help or fix or provide something that you really want. I'm the one that finally needs it. I'm so broken and sad or helpless that I'm looking to someone to show up. And that makes them more like a 4 who's at peace with the darkness in life, who's at peace with the peaks and the valleys of life, isn't trying to keep everything copacetic and nice all the time. 2s tend to have a positive outlook on everything. Well, silver lining is this. Well, honey, we can fix that. Oh, that's no problem. And when they tap into the kind of the depths and the darkness of the 4 in a beautiful way, it does make them more authentic in the way they care for people because they're not looking for a quick fix or a soft solution to someone's problems. They're going, man, I feel what you're feeling. And if all you need is someone to sit here and be sad, I'll sit here and be sad. I'm not going to hover over you and get you a drink and get you some food and make you tea and get you a blanket. I'm just going to sit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to recognize that we're in the shit and I've been there and we're all going to be there at some point. And it's just because I have some resources to provide doesn't mean I'm any better off. So.
Yeah. And the truth is, when you're there, you might need a drink. And if you do need a drink and you're at the right kind of bar, order up a Penicillin. Whether you've had 100 craft cocktails or you've never had one in your life, you're probably going to love this one. Spicy, sweet, smoky, strong. It's everything you need.
Amen.
Cheers.
Cheers.